It's Beat Mike Somich. It's try and knock this guy off right here. You talk smack every time we come on the show and we pick horses. Now it's your chance to prove that you can out-handicap me. We've got a free handicapping contest for the stakes races this weekend, all on December 6th here, including the Cigar Mile, the Remsen, and the Demoiselle. 5 races in total. You don't need to bet a single dollar. All you got to do, all 5 races, pick one horse for a mythical $2 win-place wager. If you've got more money in your bankroll at the end of the 5 races than I do, you get to split $5,000 with everyone who was able to beat Mike Somich over those 5 races. It's going to be a blast. It is free to enter. Head over to first.com/VSiN. That's the number 1, st.com/VSiN.
This is VSiN At The Track. Now here's your hosts, Mike Somich and Aaron Halterman.
All right, welcome in here, another VSiN At The Track. I am Mike Somich. He is Aaron Halterman. And as always, we are sponsored by the official racing partner of VSiN, First Bet Racing. And we've got a fun contest this week, Aaron. You got to beat me if you want some free money in your First Bet account. We'll get to the details of that shortly, as well as how the contest plays out, because I do want to spend a little bit of time around game theory on the contest side, because we're going to cover the 5 races that are in the contest here today on this program. I may not pick the horses that I picked to win the race, though, in the contest in this program, because it is a tournament-style contest. We'll get to all of that and much more here on this episode. Of course, like I mentioned, we'll go over the races at Gulfstream Park with the H.Allen Jerkens, and then cover a big day at Aqueduct with 4 graded stakes races: the Cigar Mile, the Remsen, the Demoiselle, and the Elite Power. Still a little messed in my head that the H.Allen Jerkens isn't a 7-furlong dirt sprint at Saratoga, but we'll get to that point a little bit later. These are also 2 Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oaks preps that are going 1 1/8 miles, which always kind of creates a little bit of chaos up there at Aqueduct. We've also got some news we want to hit. Further ado, a horse that you've mentioned before on the Derby Trail comes back and wins the Jockey Club Stakes. Boyd looked good winning the Ed Brown Stakes. My boy Magnitude came back. And I don't know what to do with this horse, so I'm excited to get your perspective on Magnitude. And return of the Mac here to Pond Street, going to make a return to the racetrack. The only horse that beat Sovereignty last year will be back on the track shortly. So a lot to get to, Aaron. I've been talking quite a bit. I got to pitch it to you. How you doing, buddy? Wearing black today. We in a negative mindset here?
No, positive mindset. Just, trying to keep it all in, keep the black all in, and then the outside will be, positive, right? No, I told you our St. Louis Blues are playing tonight, so I got to wear black because, it's been rough, that kind of year. Yeah, listen, I'm excited for the people and the listeners, first and foremost. And if it was last week, I would say I was thankful for the people and the listeners, because I get to beat you every week live in person on the show for everybody to watch. Now they all get to do it, Mike. So I'm very excited for the people today.
Well, I'm excited because all of the people in the YouTube comments that keep telling me I picked the wrong horses now get to actually pick the horses, and we'll see how everybody does here. Again, tournament style. It's a little different than your day-to-day handicapping, but I'm excited to get to it and rip through all of these races. But before we do, without further ado, let's talk about one of the Derby favorites right now on the betting board for next year. Further Ado looks good winning the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes. What are your Further Ado thoughts here?
Look, I thought it was a good race, and I'd leave it at that. I don't think it was anything close to what his maiden win was, but look, I think he got a little bit more out of the race, a little bit more education out of this race, because that maiden, it was just a 20-length win, and he galloped away from everybody. I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he was bad. I thought he's right there in the middle. I think he's, one of your top 5 or 10 horses right now. It's still very early. I think when we talk about this race coming up the Remsen, maybe we see something out of that. I think it's a strong running. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's terrible. He won a Kentucky Derby prep race. I think he moves forward nicely off of it. I think we kind of have seen a great performance and then just a good performance to just okay performance. So I think that next one will really start to tell us who he is. But good win. He battled in the stretch, was able to get by a horse and win, so you give him credit for that. But I thought he would be a little bit more impressive, to be quite honest. But again, you don't want to get too high or too low on horses at the Derby Trail right now, because it is so early.
Yeah, I'm going to give it the good old professional effort, right? One was supposed to win. Looked fine doing so, did not blow me away, but at the same time, I mean, this is a 2-year-old that has a lot of growing up to do. To be able to get the win in a prep is an important step. Is it someone that I want to push forward and put him on top of the Derby trail? No, this wasn't that level of an effort, but at the same time, clearly a talented horse. The question is, what is that talent going to do as he matures? Because that's going to be this was not good enough to be a Kentucky Derby contender, but the assumption here is the step forwards off of this race, and being able to return to that maiden form and step forward in the stakes level is going to be the difference here for further ado long run.
Yeah, I think it's fair, and I think that is the right way to term it. It wasn't a blow you away effort, but sometimes it doesn't have to be. You just have to win. I mean, that's the point of the races, right? And it was pretty professional. I don't think the horse was all out or anything like that. I just thought he would look a little better. But again, first time going from a maiden to a stakes, I don't care what age you are, that is tough. It is a whole different world. So any win when you do that is a good win.
All right, moving on from further ado, we had another horse win a stakes race over the weekend. Boyd wins the Ed Brown Stakes, looks very good doing so. What are your take on Boyd's effort?
Yeah, I'm very excited about him as well. I thought he was pretty darn good. That was a sprint race, so we still don't know about routing with this horse. So that is something we're going to have to keep an eye on. I wasn't overly impressed with anybody on the Stars of Tomorrow card there at Churchill Downs. I'm not hating on all of them either. It was just kind of right in the middle. So when I say I thought Boyd was the most impressive horse on that card, in prior years, I think that would mean more than this year. However, I did think Boyd was the most impressive horse on that card. He looked like a horse that is going to get better going longer. He's kind of bred like a horse that should be okay going longer. So I'm not really worried that it was just a sprint, but we really don't know for sure until we actually see him go 2 turns what we're going to make of him. And also, I'm wearing black, Mike, so maybe I'm being a Debbie Downer today, but I mean, the horse is trained by Bob Baffert, so let's just see when he runs next, where he runs next. Let's hope it's not October of 2026. I hate to be like that, but that's kind of what it's been when he's had really good horses here the last 3 or 4 years on this Derby trail. Certainly not saying that's going to be the case with Boyd, but I'm just saying, let's just kind of, I guess what I'm saying is like my excitement level when I see Baffert horses right now for the future is not that high.
Yeah, you're pumping the brakes, right? I mean, that's the key thing, right? It's like, yeah, the horse looked great. When will we see the horse look great again? Because that has been the main issue with Bob Baffert horses the last couple of years. You see these performances, you're like, wow, that's a runner. And then you're like, well, we don't get to see him run again, and that kind of becomes a problem. This is a California horse that ran at Churchill Downs. Be interesting to see what trail Bob Baffert goes with. Right now, it looks like the next plan is the Los Allen Futurity, which is here in a couple weeks in December. We'll see if that is the case. It'd be kind of a quick turnaround for Baffert's, considering what we have seen from these 2-year-olds with Bob Baffert in the past. I agree with you. Back-to-back sprint wins. Has looked good sprinting. Let's see him do 2 turns. Let's see this horse be able to stretch out, because that obviously a big part of the Kentucky Derby trail. Got to give a shout out to Violence. One of my favorite sires. This is one of the sons of Violence. We'll see if that 2 turns is going to be a good thing or not for Boyd, but one that I think has to at least be on the radar at this point. A horse that wasn't on the radar at this point last year, but made a big splash down in Louisiana last year during the preps, was Magnitude. We did not get to see him run in the Triple Crown races, came back for the Travers, was disappointing there. But all of a sudden feels like starting to turn a little bit of a corner again, and we've seen a new style of racing for Magnitude as well. Doesn't necessarily have to go gate to wire to still be competitive. What do you make of Magnitude's win over the weekend, and where's his stature here when we look at the older horses and his move to next year as a 4-year-old?
I thought it was a really good win, first and foremost, for him. I thought this was 2 races in a row, because he ran the Pennsylvania Derby, and he kind of set off the pace and ran well, and then he did it here again. And that's look, you need that. You can't just be a one-trick pony. I mean, you can get lucky and win a race here or there, but overall, you're going to get caught up if you can only do one thing. You're not going to be, consistently productive. So I like that from him. I think what we're seeing, he's not as flashy as what you saw down in Louisiana or over in Iowa in the Iowa Derby. He's clearly not as bad as the Travers. That was just, he didn't show up that day. And I think the last 2 races, he's hit right in between those 2. He's good. I don't think he's elite. You can win a lot of races if you're spotted correctly, if you're good but not elite. I don't think this is a horse that's going to be able to beat the heavy hitters from last year, whether it be his own crop of 3-year-olds that are getting ready to turn 4, or those older horses, some of them that might be coming back. I don't know how many of those older ones are going to come back, but still, I just feel like he's a good horse, and I think he's established that. I don't know that we're going to see him go crazy and win, like, say, the Whitney up at Saratoga. I don't think that's him.
I think there's upside, and I
Mhm.
think the change in styles makes it even more upside. Like I think of like Phileas Fogg, who's had a great career. We're going to talk
Yep.
about him later. Has been able to win some of these longer races going gate to wire, but has been track dependent, entry dependent. He needs the perfect setup to be able to get the job done. Magnitude was starting to be that horse where it had to be the right setup for him to be able to win. And now with the versatility that we're seeing, to me, that raises his ceiling. Will the talent be able to catch up to those top tier horses? I think that is the big question mark, but at least we know that the ability to rate and win is now there in Magnitude. And that's something that I don't think it's a small thing to be able to add to your repertoire as a racehorse, because the most effective horses we have seen traditionally are horses that can sit second, third, fourth, have tactical speed early, and be able to just outkick horses down the lane and keep going. That is the ideal racehorse. If you could choose your style, that's the style you would pick. And Magnitude now showing that style. The question going to be now, is the talent improvement going to be there year over year? Because he does need to get better.
Yeah, absolutely right. And he is a horse that if the race is paceless, he could take over and just kind of bury him, and that's a good thing to have. But you're right. I mean, that's the style that's the toughest to beat. That's the style that's the toughest to mess with, because you still have that versatility. Last thing I'll say on it, it's Steve Asmussen, and I know you're not a huge fan of, like I am, of him, but this is kind of his specialty. When these horses turn 4, they get better and better. Think of Gun Runner just right off the top of your head. Horses just improve as they go around. So he's with the right trainer for the situation that's coming up for him as a 4-year-old. So if the talent is there, I believe you're going to see it. But you're right. It's just a question of, okay, will we see it? Is he good enough to maybe raise that level? But we've seen the baseline now. I think this is what you can expect, and then we'll see if we can move forward.
See, it's funny. I don't dislike Steve Asmussen. You love Steve Asmussen.
Yeah.
We all, as horse players, have personal biases built into our beliefs in the best trainers, the best jockeys. We talked about those two a couple weeks ago, and a lot of it is just where your home track is, right? Mm-hmm. And I grew up on New York and California, places that Steve Asmussen didn't dominate. You grew up at Oaklawn, a place where Steve Asmussen does dominate. And that really is going to push your belief, because you saw him win race after race after race, whereas I saw him ship in and struggle in certain spots. And so it's interesting how your biases get built off of what kind of your home track is, and then your ability as a handicapper to be able to move away from those biases and be able to look at the well-rounded picture a little better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The first time I ever went to a racetrack, Steve Asmussen won 6 of the 11 races. So how could I not like him ever since
exactly.
that? It seems like every time I went to Oaklawn when I didn't have a website or nothing, it just as a fan, it's like, okay, Asmussen won 5 today. He won 6 today. You know what I mean? Every time. And so, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And, I do think over the years you kind of look and go, okay, well, he's turf sprinting here and the horse isn't Cogburn, so I think I'll go elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
Or, as you brought up last week, and I hate to bring it up again, but it's true. Well, his kids are riding this one, so
maybe pass.
We'll see.
Yeah, or get a good price. One of the two. You got to demand a price when those kids are up. All right, before we get into these stakes races, because we have a loaded card. Wait, well, actually, we need to talk about Tappan Street. What am I doing? Like, this is to me the number one news story that came out this week. Tappan Street back on the track, expected to run here in one prep race, and possibly targeting the Pegasus as well as a second return back to the track. Why is Tappan Street important? Tappan Street won the Florida Derby, beat Sovereignty, the only horse last year that was able to beat Sovereignty fair and square on the racetrack. And Tappan Street owns that style that we were just talking about with Magnitude, where it sits close to the pace, makes a run, and says, catch me in the stretch. So this is a racehorse that can be a very, very serious horse for the Brad Cox barn. Level of excitement that we get Tappan Street back here, because for a while it looked like this was just a pipe dream to see him on the track again.
Oh, I think it's exciting. I do want to mention, I guess I am just going to be negative today on the show. Wow.
I called it when you were wearing black. Right when we got into the room, I'm like, oh, geez.
So it's like everybody asking about this horse. Everybody's over the moon, and I am excited. But hold on, here's why you shouldn't be. Okay, so there's two things I'll say. Coming off an injury and a long layoff, even the best horses, you don't know how they're going to come back. So there is a little bit of pause there. It's like, okay, let's see how the injury affected this horse. Sometimes they're fine. Sometimes it does kind of take a little bit out of them. So there is that. The second thing is the Sovereignty that Tappan Street beat that day is not the Sovereignty you saw during the Triple Crown and up at Saratoga. It's just not. That Sovereignty would have killed Tappan Street that day. Okay. So While I am excited, while he does have that win and you absolutely can't take it away, don't just automatically assume he's going to come back and be better than Sovereignty or even within a few links of what you saw up at Saratoga specifically. Don't put that expectation on this horse because you're going to be a little bit disappointed, in my opinion. With that being said, he even forget Sovereignty, forget that he beat him. He was showing great progress. Like, pretend Sovereignty wasn't in the Florida Derby and he still won it like that. This horse was getting better with each start. He kind of got thrown into this thing, late. He was kind of a late bloomer. So don't expect him to be the best horse to ever live. But this horse should be pretty good, and we should be excited to see him back.
Salty Halty. Wearing black today.
Do you disagree with anything I just said, though?
No, expectations are outrunning the horse's ability. I think that is because it's funny because I just was totally guilty of this where I said it's the only horse that's beaten Sovereignty. That's great, but at the same time, this is also a horse that hasn't been back to the racetrack, and the expectation that you're going to see. Look, how much did Sovereignty improve from the Florida Derby to the Travers? 15%, 10%. The assumption. Well, yeah, he got a lot better. The assumption that you're just going to see a 15, 20% improvement from Tappan Street off the bench of that Florida Derby is it's a leap of faith. We'll just put it that way. I agree with you. I think you have to taper your expectations. But I also think if you want to get excited, you can. Because not only do we get the horse back, Brad Cox is talking about the Pegasus World Cup. Mm-hmm. And we've talked a lot about Brad Cox on this show. He, loves every horse he has. He's infamous for just saying this horse is going to be huge. It's the best horse in my barn. He loves talking about that, but he doesn't often talk about where he's pointing horses, and that especially with ones like this with Tappan Street, where there's a lot of buzz about. He doesn't always mention, hey, we're looking at one of the richest races in the winter slate with the horse second off the layoff. And so to me, there's at least a little bit of reason to be excited in what we can expect from Tappan Street down the line. I'm probably not betting Tappan Street. December 20th, the date he's expected back, because his price is going to be way too short off the layoff. But I will be very, very interested in watching that race to see whether or not he is a player in the Pegasus. Yeah, I think it's a good point. And I would just pause and say, let's wait and see who's in that race, because it might be a situation where, he can run backwards and win. So let's see what it is. Then he's 2-5, 1-9, and I don't want to bet him anyway.
Fair, and I think he will be based on how excited everybody is, and I'm with you. Look, you should get excited about him. And hey, I hope I'm not against this horse at all. By the way, I hope he comes out and wins by 12 lengths, because then you're like, great, maybe all I just said was wrong. Maybe he can beat a horse like Sovereignty, and then we've got another great horse. So I'm rooting for that. I'm just saying, I know the expectations are going to be super high for this horse, and I just relax a little bit on it. That's all I'm saying. So to recap the news here, further ado, according to Aaron Halterman, further ado, not nearly as good as debut. Boyd, well, let's not get excited. He's still got to go 2 turns. Magnitude stinks, and Tappan Street, don't get excited about the return because it's his first time off the layoff. Is that correct? Yep, that sums it up perfectly.
All right, that's what I thought. All right, before we get into handicapping these races, we got to talk about the contest First Bet is running, because you know what that name of this contest is? It's Beat Mike Somich. It's try and knock this guy off right here. You talk smack every time we come on the show and we pick horses. Now it's your chance to prove that you can out-handicap me. We've got a free handicapping contest for the stakes races this weekend, all on December 6th here, including the Cigar Mile, the Remsen, and the Demoiselle. 5 races in total. You don't need to bet a single dollar. All you got to do, all 5 races, pick one horse for a mythical $2 win-place wager. If you've got more money in your bankroll at the end of the 5 races than I do, you get to split $5,000 with everyone who was able to beat Mike Somich over those 5 races. It's going to be a blast. It is free to enter. Head over to first.com/VSiN. That's the number 1, st.com/VSiN. The contest page will be live today, December 4th. For the December 6th contest, again, all you have to do is have a First Bet account and head over to first.com/VSiN, the number 1, st.com/VSIN. Enter your picks for those 5 races on Saturday, and then get lucky enough to be able to knock me out. That's all it takes, Aaron. That's it, and you get your shot at $5,000.
Luck has never been so easy for everybody listening, to get Mike Somich and knock him out. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to track it. A little extra, and not that we need extra stuff on a Saturday, this time of year. It's so great anyway. But yeah, it'll be fun to track this. Are we doing this every week? Is this an every week thing?
This is one of two Beat Mike Somich contests.
Okay.
So we've got this week.
Okay.
And I believe we're going to do it for Santa Anita late December as well.
Okay.
So this is one of your two opportunities to prove that you've got the chops to be able to beat me.
So if you're listening, that heightens this tremendously. Go do it now, because you only get two opportunities in your lifetime for free money, is basically what Somich said. And here is the chance. Free money. We're giving it away this week and perhaps another weekend, but we don't even know if that's for sure. So sign up. Do it now.
Yeah, it's interesting because it is a contest, right? So a mythical $2 win place contest. Play these all the time. You can play them on a bunch of different sites online. I will not be picking favorites. I will tell everybody out there right now, I will not have the favorite in any of these races. By the way, all the picks lock as soon as the first post goes off, so you're not going to be able to see the odds in some of the later races. And we don't know the morning line odds right now for these races. So again, I may say I like the favorite today, but that is not a contest pick for me, because contest picks, I am always going to take horses 5-1 or greater. So if I just miss all 5 races, all you got to do is get a horse to place and you're going to beat me. However, if I get 2 or 3 right, this is probably going to be 1 or 2 people that get to split the $5,000 as well. So a bunch of reasons to play over at first.com/VSiN. Jump into that contest today. That page will be live December 4th. We'll talk about it again as we go through the show, because, hey, $5,000 for free. Not a bad offer there. All right, let's jump ahead here to the H.Allen Jerkens Handicap down at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Race number 9, the first of the contest races, or one of the contest races as well. This is 2 miles on the turf, which I joked about at the start. Really not used to the H.Allen Jerkens being in December, 2 miles on the turf. This has always been a Saratoga 7 furlong race to me until they recently changed it. Glad to see H.Allen Jerkens gets a race named after him. Interesting field here. We're going 2 miles, so that always kind of makes it a little bit off the cuff. Aaron, who do you like here in the H.Allen Jerkens?
Yeah, this is a mess a little bit, isn't it? This is a toughie. There's no doubt about it. And it always is down here, this race. It's kind of fun, but it's also, I don't take it too seriously, because you're not going to get these conditions again. But like I said, it's kind of fun. Good time of year to run it. The king of going long on the turf is Mike Maker, in my opinion. He just does a fantastic job. For whatever reason, I don't know what the secret is with these horses going long on the turf. So I'm just going to go the number 1 Risk Manager on top in this spot. This is a horse that's won 3 out of 4 races coming into this. No stakes races, but this is an odd kind of setup anyway, so I don't worry about that so much. We don't really know how long the horse wants to go. Did win a 10.5 furlong race at Kentucky Downs, so I thought that was a pretty good sign that we could see this horse go a little bit longer. Running a mile and 16th. Breeding wise, I don't think any horse is really bred to go 2 miles on the turf, but I don't think it's impossible when you look at this horse. So I'm going to go the Mike Maker trainee here. I'm going to go with that angle and go with the number 1 Risk Manager, try to get 4 out of 5 victories here.
Yeah, I was between 2 horses for the top pick, and Risk Manager was one of the 2. This is the weird thing. On turf at Gulfstream, I want horses that are forwardly placed. Usually speed just does better down there at Gulfstream Park on the turf, and Risk Manager is going to be coming from the back. So I'm actually going to take the other horse that I had there, and that is Baloney. Baloney?
I think Baloney.
Yeah, Baloney. I like Baloney better anyway than Baloney.
Go ahead.
This is a horse that's going to be more forwardly placed. I have no issues around the distance. Again, we don't really know. Only one of these horses has gone 2 miles. That's the 3 Summer Cause, who is your projected favorite in this race. Baloney last time, or Baloney. I'm going to go with Baloney. Just sticking with it. Don't ask. This is a horse that's kind of gotten better once we got back to the turf. The race at Saratoga, 2 back going a mile, was the favorite in that spot. Ended up running 6th, gets claimed off of that, jumps up, switches over to the Abreu barn. I thought ran well at a mile and a 16th. We've seen decent efforts going longer from this horse before. To me, this is trip. It looks like we have 2 horses that want to be forward. That's Don't Splash the Pot and I Know. I think Baloney's going to get the trip right behind those 2 horses and be able to stalk and make a move. And I think gets the jump on Risk Manager, who is, again, the other horse that I was considering as a top pick here. And since Baloney gets the jump here, I think he gets to the wire first because of this speed favoring track there at Gulfstream.
I think it's a good pick. Like I said, I have the horse here, and I think I had him 3rd. I thought about him for a little bit. Again, you see 2 races in a row before his last start. He's running a claiming tag, but it's like this again. This is not a normal stakes race. This is very much a survival of the fittest, really, honestly and truly. Here, is probably the best way to describe it. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. The kind of the lack of class lately doesn't really bother me so much. I'm with you there on him. You know, a horse and a trainer we talked about last week, Miguel Clement, is getting, it has the number 3 Summer Cause, getting Tyler Gaffalione aboard, which is I think he's going to be a key jockey at this meet. And so I thought about him for a while too. How troubled are you though by the last race was, believe it or not, at this distance and didn't do anything? It's hard for me to go back. His 12 furlong, 11 furlong races I thought were okay. That last race really bothered me, and I think this horse is going to be kind of a short price. So, yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I agree with you. I think this horse is a short price, and most likely going to be the favorites. The reason why I didn't really strongly consider Summer Cause on top, I actually am not bothered by the last race.
Okay.
11 horses ended up running fourth, but it's a 2-mile race, and he carried 144.
Yeah.
Right, and now we're carrying 112. I mean, just a very different, or 121, very different weight level that's happening here. And the horse just kind of hung around. And the winner of that race won by 9 lengths. It was 4 more lengths between second and third. With these 2-mile races, to me, you kind of have to be willing to forgive certain things. And you mentioned the class level that we saw on Bologna recently. I mean, I'm willing to forgive Summer Cause not running great last time out because I don't really know how to judge that race based on kind of what the form is and the weight that was carried. So the fact that Miguel Clement runs back to 2 miles, I think, is as good of a sign as you can get for a horse that's coming out of that race.
Yeah, no, you're right. I did agree with that. The Miguel Clement factor was the big reason why I was like, yeah, maybe just kind of forgive that one. I don't know. It wasn't enough there for me. I did think about the number 5 Coiled a lot in this spot. Won at 12 furlongs last time out at Laurel, but that was an allowance. It was at Laurel and it was back in September, so I was a little bit, I don't know about that either. But this is a horse. It lacks speed, but does seemingly always makes up a lot of ground. Maybe not on top and underneath. I thought Coiled was interesting. I think he's going to make a big run in this race.
I do think he is at least a little interesting. Won at 1.5 miles last time. Ran well at 1 mile and 3/16 to Keeneland at a level that I think is probably comparable, if not a little better, than what we're facing today. I agree with you underneath, probably more likely than winning. The horse that I kept going back to, and I mean, I'll kind of spoil it here, probably the horse I'm going to play in the tournament. The number 4 horse here, Don't Splash the Pot. Who do you think makes the lead, the 2 or the 4? Because I think whoever makes the lead has a very decent chance at hanging on for a very long time.
I think it's the 4.
And if that's the case, if Don't Splash the Pot makes the front, and this horse won last time out over over Gulfstream Park synthetic track, going 1 mile and 70 yards in a race that was supposed to be on the turf. And when I look at that race, and I realize it's maiden 35, so ridiculous jump up in class.
Yeah.
Speed could be the great equalizer, man. And that synthetic course is not a very easy course to go gate to wire in. Generally, you're seeing horses win from mid-pack or back in the pack. One of my angles I like at Gulfstream Park are synthetic speed, switching over to turf, and turf closers switching over to synthetic, because I think there are clear advantages on both of those tracks. I wouldn't be shocked if Don't Splash the Pot is in front for a very long time in this 2-mile race.
I could have guessed that would be your horse that you were going to play, just because. And I'll give away your secrets. How about for the people?
Yeah, go ahead.
Not
go ahead,
to
salty
hurt
halty.
you.
Just lean back, wear your black, and be negative.
Well, not to hurt you, so to speak, but just for the people, to help our listeners, which is all I really care about. Mike Somich is going to pick Lone Speed on the turf in these races at 20 to 1 a lot. So just be ready for that. I'm not shocked this is your pick. There's 2 ways to look at it. The point you just laid out, which to be positive to you, I think that makes perfect sense. And then my negative outlook is we ran for a 35K maiden claimer, and now we're going to a stakes race. That's tough. One thing I'll say, Sweezy's a pretty good trainer down here at Gulfstream, especially on the turf. So I don't think I think part of it is, hey, let's take a shot. This is a weird race. He might just say, but I think there is part of him probably is like, I don't think it's out of the question. This horse could do okay. So I don't hate it. I'm not going to have this horse, but I can't sit here and say, well, that's just terrible, because you logically laid out a path where that does make sense. And again, this is not a normal race. This is a 2-mile race. So that kind of angle could work.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where Sweezy is trying to channel a little K-pop Demon Hunters in the song Golden, where they're the line, we're going up, up, up. It's our moment. I mean, that's what he's going for here. He's jumping way up in class. It's his moment. Going to try and go gate to wire. Cash your K-pop Demon Hunter reference in VSiN At The Track at plus 10,000.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's head over. Have you watched K-Pop Demon Hunters?
Dude, I did not know what that was. I didn't know what you were talking about. Then you kind of, sang the song. I was like, oh, I do know that song.
Yeah, golden, man. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
If you have a son or daughter sub 10 years old, maybe even more than 10 years, I don't know how old it is literally everywhere. Also, it's in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The performance there with some golden fireworks for one of the best songs of the year, nominated for Grammys or Oscars. I can't remember which. Anyway, heading over to Aqueduct, race number 10 on Saturday, the Grade 2 Cigar Mile. People probably not tuning in for K-Pop Demon Hunter talk.
Song nominated for the Oscars. Okay.
Yeah. It's the best original song in a movie. Come on. Get with the times here. Aqueduct, race number 10, the Grade 2 Cigar Mile, going a mile on the dirt. Save me. Who do you like here?
Which one is it? The Cigar Mile? Okay.
Cigar Mile, yeah.
We're going to go with Oh, geez. Good times. All right. I'll go with a horse that I've loved forever, and he, sometimes has really made me upset, but not often. I'm going to go number 7, Bishop's Bay in this spot. I kind of think this.
You were minus 10,000 to pick this horse.
I pick him every single time, so why wouldn't I pick him here, right? And look, he's 8 out of 12, so there's that. Look, honestly, I didn't actually. I did not pick him in the forego because that was our boy Bookham Dano. I never picked against him either. But yeah, look, the other races other than the forego, like he's never ran worse than second. This is a not good running of the Cigar Mile. Let's just put it like it's not great. So I think if you saw
salty.
Well, if you're going to argue on that, I'll argue all day that this is not one of the better runnings. But look, I think this horse just fits perfect. He's got tactical speed. We've seen him go, the distance on this track. We've seen him at this distance several times. I think it's his best. I think it's a 2-horse race, but I got to go number 7, Bishop's Bay.
Good pick. Yeah, Bishop's Bay, clearly the horse to pick here. Like, again, not going to use this horse in the tournament. For everyone out there who says, but you didn't use the horse you picked in the tournament. I'm not going to use Bishop's Bay in the tournament. However, I do think Bishop's Bay is the most likely winner in my pick to win the race here. Trip sets up beautifully. Phileas Fogg, a horse we talked about a little bit earlier, is going to do one thing, and that is go to the front. He's had success at a mile. It's not like a mile is the issue. Most of the success in graded stakes has been longer, but is 1 for 2 at a mile with a place finish as well. But the problem is you've got Amika on the inside there, the 2-horse who wants to go. Doc Sullivan's got some speed early. I just think it's going to be a contentious pace, and if that's the case, Bishop's Bay, who has the ability to sit just outside those horses and then make a move, seems to be in the best possible scenario here to be able to go by late.
That's just it, and that's the thing. Phileas Fogg, I think, you mentioned this horse in the right circumstances, Phileas Fogg could be dangerous here, right? I just trust Bishop's Bay a little bit more. I trust the trip he's going to get. You're right. Mika is going to be a horse that I think is going to be out there bothering Phileas Fogg. And I think the difference between Bishop's Bay and Phileas Fogg is Bishop's Bay, I just think, has a tendency to relax a little bit earlier in the race. So, or a little bit easier, I should say, in the race. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I just couldn't go against the favorite in this spot. I think he's awfully tough to beat. I do think, you mentioned Doc Sullivan. I think he's interesting in here, and I don't think he would be in a normal Cigar Mile, but this is not great running of the race. This is a very consistent horse. I think he's interesting. He's coming off of a nice win last time out. It'd be kind of cool for a New York bred to win this thing. I don't think he can. I think he can come in underneath at a little bit of a price.
Yeah, I don't completely count out Phileas Fogg. The other main difference between Phileas Fogg and the 7 Bishop's Bay here is the jockey switch. Phileas Fogg going from Carmouche, just a send speed jockey, to Rosario. If he doesn't get the lead, what is Rosario going to do with this horse? Because like that is a serious concern in my mind. Like, are we all of a sudden going to try and rate Phileas Fogg, which probably not a great idea, whereas Bishop's Bay gets Flavian Pratt aboard. Do want to name a couple prices in here. Start out with the 3 Pentathlon here for Shug McGay. Alvarado rides. Rosario rode this horse last time. He's switching over to Phileas Fogg, so Alvarado picks this one up. Another horse that I think benefits from the speed in front. This is one that projects to get a pretty good trip middle of the pack. I think that he can run up into it, maybe not win, but one of those horses you want to look at underneath. And then Crazy Mason, the 4-horse, right to the outside as well. That's another one where if it collapses, I think Crazy Mason is somewhat of a player here. You add Irad Ortiz Jr., likes the track, 3 for 5 here at Aqueduct. If the horses come back to him, I think Crazy Mason is live in this one.
How many times have we said that about Crazy Mason on
a
the
lot.
show?
A lot, yeah.
And Mike, I caught myself doing the exact same thing. Like, you know what? If this thing falls apart, there he is. How bad does it really have to fall apart at this point? That's where I'm at with him, and I will still like him. But it's hard for me to get there for a win with him. And I do think he's one of those horses where you're like, well, if they stretch him out, it's going to work. I don't know. Sometimes that makes it worse because they don't have that same kick when they go shorter. So I'm not arguing with you or anything. I do agree. Hey, if it falls apart, this is the horse. But it's like, man, we just haven't gotten there with him.
We haven't gotten there, but let's make a couple excuses for Crazy Mason here. Okay. 2 of the last 4 races faced Bookham Dano. Both of those races ran third and was doing a good job closing in the forego, just kind of ran out of ground. That was at 7 furlongs. I think we both agreed sending him to the Bing Crosby was a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, not only because it was 6 furlongs, but you're shipping cross country, and you're doing so 3 weeks after running in the True North, which was your first off a layoff against Bookham Dano. Last race, I would have liked to see him win. Mm-hmm. But the question is that extra furlong here going to be the difference? I can at least make the argument that Crazy Mason hasn't lost a race he should have won in that 4-race stretch that really points you to believe that he has the talent to be able to compete with what you called a bad Cigar Mile field.
No, that's fair. This is the weakest. Well, I don't know. The Vosburg wasn't great, but other than that, this is a pretty weak field compared to what he was facing over the summer. And you're right. I remember they sent him to the Bing Crosby. We both were saying, well, that makes sense because you're getting away from Bookham Dano, and Mulligan at the time was in really good form. And then, like, I don't know about you, but they broke from the gate, and I saw him way back there, and I was like, wait a sec. He's not. No, it's Del Mar. Like, that's not.
It's 6 furlongs. Like, the shortened distance and the new track, that's speed favoring. And we sure, like, and I fell for it. I picked him in the race. Like, I 100%. Like, I have my 2020 goggles on here when I'm looking back at this and saying it wasn't a great spot. But you have to be able to look back and like say I was wrong. I was wrong with Crazy Mason there in the Bing Crosby, which turned out to be a wide open race as Lovesick Blues run at a crazy price. But I do think that the extra distance here helps, and I am willing to cross that race out now that we look back at it and say 6 was too short, and maybe Del Mar not the right surface for that horse to try and close and win. Yeah,
fair enough. And you're right. You are right. I don't know that I don't think I picked Crazy Mason. I used him for sure, and we talked good about him. And you're right. Sometimes you get things in your head when you're like looking at the paper, and then you start watching the races, and then you're like, oh, I forgot this is Del Mar. Like, it's not good. Because here's the deal. And if I remember right, Lovesick Blues came from behind to win. Mm-hmm. But you can't go from that far behind at Del Mar. You know what I mean? Like, you can close, but you can't be way out of it. So, yeah, look, I think the setup's a lot better for him. I'm not going to be shocked if he wins this race. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's been 14, 11, 12, and 8 lengths back at the half-mile point.
That's a long ways.
He can't be that far back going 6 at Del Mar. Number 7, Bishop's Bay for Aaron. Number 7, Bishop's Bay for Mike. However, will not be the tournament play. And if you're wondering why we keep talking about tournament plays, it's because this weekend is Beat Mike Somich over at First Bet. That's right. Head over to first.com/VSiN, the number 1 st.com/VSiN, and you can try and take me down for your share of $5,000. We're going to pick 5 races, including the Cigar Mile and the H.Allen Jerkens. All you got to do is make a $2 mythical win place bet that costs you $0 to do this, and see if you can have more money in your bankroll at the end of the day than I do. Anyone who tops my bankroll will split $5,000 deposited directly into your First Bet account. Head over to first.com/VSiN today to enter, as that page will be live here on December 4th for the races on December 6th. And another one of those races that is included in the contest is the Grade 2 Remsen Stakes, the 9th race here on Aqueduct's card. This is a mile and an 1/8. For the boys here trying to get some Kentucky Derby points, and I laugh because this is going to be the farthest prep we see these 2-year-olds run all freshman season here, and it's an interesting one. We've got a decent-sized field here with 11 horses who are looking to go postward and try and collect some Kentucky Derby points. Very interesting horses in my mind as well. I'm going to be taking a price here as your favorite looks to be the number 11 Talking. Aaron, where are you going on top?
I love this race. I'm excited for this race. I think we've got horses that are going to make a little bit of an impact in this thing. So I'm pretty excited. I went number 2 Paladin on top in this spot. I really, really loved the maiden special weight that both Paladin and Renegade are coming out of. It was a debut race for Paladin. It was a second start for Renegade. They hit the wire together, bobbing noses at the finish. They both kind of locked in on each other once they got next to each other and kind of ran away from the rest of the field really nicely. I think it was about 5 lengths back to the third place horse in that race. Now, here's the deal. Renegade got disqualified from the race and placed second. I think he may have been worse than second. And then Paladin ends up being the winner. It was debatable if it kind of did it on the backstretch or on the turn, if I remember right, for Renegade. But anyway, if you watch the race, Renegade kind of came from farther out of it. Paladin set a really nice trip, just kind of stalked the pace in second or third the whole way around. I just love the running style for Paladin. I loved how professional he looked in his first start. I think he's going to get better in start number 2. He certainly should get better in start number 2. Both these horses are also bred really well for 1 1/8 miles. Now, it's the first time they're trying it. They're still very young, so we'll see how that goes. But I think both of them can get 1 1/8 miles as well. So I'm excited about these two horses. I went on and on. I'm going to go number 2, Paladin, on top. I think he improves off of his first race. I think he sits a really nice trip once again.
Yeah, to me, there are 6 horses that are interesting in here. 6 possible horses who could even have a chance to be able to go and get Kentucky Derby points here in this 12 horse field. Said 11 earlier, but we do have 12 heading postward here. The number 2 Paladin's one of those. I think that the number 6 Courting is interesting. The number 7 Igniter is interesting. The number 9 Renegade is interesting. The number 10 Balboa and the number 11 Talking, all relevant horses to know in the future. I am going to go to a little bit of a price here. I was back and forth between the 6 Courting and the 7 Igniter. I'm going to go with number 7 Igniter in this spot. First off the layoff here for Dutrow. This horse won over Rebel Instinct, who came back to win last time. First start at Saratoga, I thought ran well, going 6 at a price, ended up running third. The horse Oscar's Hope ran second in that race, came back to win. And this is a horse that has tactical speed, can be forward, should be able to get the distance. A son of Volatile here out of a Malibu Moon Mare, so I'm not as concerned about the 1 1/4 miles as some other horses in this spot. Has forwardly placed speed, but has passed horses as well. I like when you have that combination, especially going 1 1/8 miles and what is really just a grind them out, wear them down, so you can go further in this spot. So I'll go with a little bit of a price. Igniter, who is projected to be 8-1 on the morning line here. Outside of Paladin, obviously you mentioned the number 9 Renegade, who is a horse I considered as well. Where else were you looking in this race? Because you mentioned you liked it. You thought this was a pretty deep one.
Yeah, I'm with you. You said 6. I didn't. I think that'd be about right. There's about 6 horses, maybe 7, that could jump up here, and you're like, okay, they're pretty good. Yeah, there's a couple I want to talk about. You mentioned Courting for just a second, so let's jump into this horse. Of course, a $5 million purchase. The horse is by Curlin out of Cavorting. Cavorting was a really good racehorse on her own right on the dam side there. So this is an interesting one because when you watch Courting in both these races, where he went 1 mile in both of them. He won last time, finished 4th on debut. You look at that race and you go, this horse needs 1.25 miles right now. Right now. He's ready for it. He gets 1.125 miles today. I think that's going to help. You watch the actual race at 1 mile and you go, it was okay.
Yeah.
You watch after the wire and you go, well, that looks like the horse really woke up and picked it up. So he is the one out of all of them that is dying to go this distance. And as a 2-year-old in December, that's circle that. That's going to be really interesting. So I like Courting. I want to see what he does here. And again, gallop outs aren't a huge thing, but when it's something like what Courting did last time out, and this horse is meant to stretch out, and 1 mile isn't really probably where he's ever going to run again, let's be honest, you're like, okay, let's make a note of that. So I was interested in him quite a bit. I did want to mention a horse that's kind of fascinating. I'm not going to play, but it's fascinating to me, is the number 10 Balboa. So what happens with these horses when they're in the Baffert barn and they're deemed not worthy of the Baffert barn, they ship them over to Brittany Russell in the Mid-Atlantic Circuit over at Laurel. And then she gets to run them and run them in small, weaker races. And then, they usually have some success. So that's what happened. This horse broke the maiden at Del Mar second asking. I thought was really impressive. And then did not run well at all. The Del Mar Futurity of American Pharaoh. We go to Brittany Russell, ran the best race of his career last time out at Laurel. Now you're stepping back up into the deep end of the pool. Maybe he won't be able to handle it. This is a very nicely bred horse. The light bulb seems to be back on for this horse. I thought the number 10 Balboa was a long shot that made sense.
Yeah, first off with Courting, to your point, this is a horse that's run 12s going 1 mile. Of all the horses in this race, if anyone keeps running 12s, it's Courting. Like the gallop out confirmed what the breeding tells you, that this horse wants more distance. So I that's one of the main reasons I was looking at Courting there. And Balboa is another interesting one. I think is probably best bred to get the 1.25 miles here. Renegade probably wants to enter the conversation into Mischief out of a Curlin mare, but this is a Not This Time, and we've seen Not This Time just literally dominate the competition from a sire perspective over the last year and a half out of a Warfront mare. Now, the concerning part is like the distance got it. Like the further we went, the worse it got with Baffert. Baffert's a great horseman. Like I'm not going to say that he's worse than Brittany Russell, but Brittany Russell sometimes takes over these horses, and all of a sudden you see them progress. And so I wouldn't be shocked if we get a very good effort from Balboa here, who is bred to be able to get the distance. We got to talk about the 11 Talking before we move on. He's projected to be your 9-5 morning line favorite. Not a horse that either of us are picking here. Was second in the Grade 1 Champagne last time out to Napoleon Solo, a horse that I know you liked quite a bit in that spot. Was impressive first asking, winning at Saratoga. What's your logic for not using Talking?
Just I like Paladin, I like Renegade, I like Courting, and I look at Talking, and I don't dislike him, but I don't like him as much as those three horses. That's really the only reason, to be blunt about it. I do like Napoleon Solo. This horse really was kind of in a different zip code than him when he ran second to him. That's kind of the thing, right? If he's a couple links behind, maybe you get a little bit more excited about it. But I'll tell you this, I think if he wins, it's not a shocking result whatsoever. I don't blame you if you want to take a shot with him. I went back and watched his maiden again. I thought it was a really good effort. And he was fine in the Champagne. Like that was a very good race. So it's just, I think there's more upside with the horses that kind of we've talked about so far. Even Igniter to a certain degree. I think there's upside there. I don't think that there isn't upside here with Talking. I just think there's more upside with other horses. But look, he's ran 2 races and there was nothing wrong with either one of them. Let's just see if he can kind of, in my kind of eyes, step up against a field that has a little more depth to it.
To quote the theatrical masterpiece Happy Gilmore, the price is wrong, Bob. That's the issue with Talking for me. I don't want to take a 9-5 favorite, breaking from the 11 posts, going 1 1/8 at Aqueduct against this level of field where I believe so many horses can take a step forward. So wouldn't be shocked if Talking wins. Just not interested in betting Talking at the current price. Number 2, Paladin for Aaron here in the Remsen. Give me the number 7 Igniter, although the 6 right there for me as well. Next race we're going to talk about here is going to be the ladies in the Demoiselle, a Grade 2 with Kentucky Oaks points on the line. This is race number 3 on the card. Not nearly as full of a field here in the Demoiselle, as they're also going 1 1/8. A very challenging distance here for 2-year-old fillies. Only 6 heading postward. Aaron, who you got on top?
Yeah, this is a weird one, isn't it? I wasn't over the moon about anybody in here. I'm going to assume the number 3 Zany is going to be pretty short price. I
agree.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Can we beat Zany with Concurrently, the number 4 horse? Weirdly enough, both horses sired by American Pharoah. Or can we beat them both with Believable, the 6 horse sired by Curlin? That's kind of the debate I was having in my head. I ended up going with the number 4 Concurrently on top in the spot. Has been 1 mile a couple of times, and I thought got better second time out going a mile. It still wasn't just like overly excited with the race, but I did think she got a little bit better. I think she's a horse that will be fine going long. And honestly, I'm not sure the number 3 Zany won't be fine going long. I just think it's a tougher challenge going from 6.5 furlongs now to 1 1/8. I think that's tough. So I went the number 4 Concurrently, hoping to try to, like I said, I assume the 3 is going to be a big favorite. Give me the 4 to try to beat her.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the prices are. Projected price on Zany 4-1.
No way.
Believable 5-2. 4-1 seems high. If it's 4-1, Zany is an easy pick for me. I'm going to pick Zany anyway. I do think that this is the horse to beat here in this spot, not just off that first effort, but the damn Mo Green won at 9 furlongs early in her career over this Aqueduct course. So you have like at least the early pedigree to be able to get the distance as well. American Pharoah horses, they've been able to get 1 1/8, so not concerned there. I'm going to be price conscious when we actually see what the morning line is, what the price is in the morning, if I want to bet this horse to win or not. But I do think Zany is the most logical winner in this spot. My issue with Believable is that last race. If I don't like Schilling, It's hard for me to back Believable, and I don't like Schilling. I think this is a horse that probably is capped at the distance, and I think that distance is under 1.125 miles, and that to me becomes a problem considering that Schilling was kind of holding off Believable down the lane there when Believable had a clear shot at a mile, and it was not great for Believable. I agree concurrently, probably the other one, but it's really hard for me to get overly excited for anybody in this one, but I'll take Zany on top here and hope I get the right price.
Yeah, just not. This is kind of the opposite of the Remsen. This is not a field that, I mean, I think Zany might be okay. There might be another one be okay, but it just doesn't get you as excited. 6-horse fields again. I think that's why they put it at the third race on the card. 6-horse field, probably a big favorite. I don't know. I'll take a shot against Zany. Just try to make a little coin here in this one. Not going to be a big bet. Like I'm not. You could probably tell. I'm pretty excited really about the last two that we talked about at Aqueduct. This one is it leaves a little to be desired.
There is a reason it is the third race on the card. I will just put it that way. Number 3, Zany for me in the Demoiselle. Number 4, concurrently for Aaron in the Demoiselle. That's the third race from Aqueduct on Saturday. We've talked about the Beat Mike Somich promo, but the other one we got running right now over at VSiN is an absolute killer as well. We're continuing to run the Black Friday special. For all of those who have not joined VSiN Pro yet, we have one more week to get in here. For just $60, you get a full VSiN Pro access through May 1st. That includes the Kentucky Derby Guide, by the way, coming out right before the May 1st date there. That includes your daily best bets from the hosts and guests, real-time betting splits from DraftKings, Circa, and Brocco, the AI prop tool that everyone's been talking about for both football and basketball, 24/7 video access to the VSiN Watch app so you can watch Ready, Set, Bet on Saturdays with me and Matt Brown, and you can watch Aaron's appearance every Wednesday as well. That was a mess last night. A lot of fun there having you on the show on VSiN Primetime.
Plus full coverage. Appearance. Come on.
I mean, your comments around Oklahoma were incorrect, but other than that, your appearance was just fine. Full coverage for every sport, March Madness, the NFL Draft, the Masters, everything we do through May 1st there. Plus, you'll get our college football betting guide, our March Madness betting guide, as well as, got to get the sneakiest one in, the betting guide for the Kentucky Derby. The Black Friday special ends after this Sunday, so do not miss out. Beat me on Saturday. Use the $60 to join VSiN on Sunday. Go to vsin.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe and sign up today. All right, let's close out the previews here with the Elite Power Stakes, race number 5 on Aqueduct's card from Saturday, as well as the last race here in the contest. We have another smaller field here, Aaron. We've got 6 horses heading postward, but a very interesting race here. Your projected favorite, El Grande O, on the rail. Subrogate, a horse we've talked about quite a bit, trying to get the first graded stakes win for Jorge Duarte Jr., one of my boys as a trainer. Who are you going with on top?
Yeah, this is not a great race either, but it's interesting to me. I think that Flavien Prat gets aboard the number 1 El Grande O. I also think it's interesting the horse draws the rail. Just send. That's what I would do in this race. There's not a lot of other speed. I would just send from the rail and take him gate to wire. And look, I think if I can see that, Flavien Prat can see it. I think if Flavien Prat can't get it out of the horse, nobody's going to. So give me the number 1 El Grande O. I think it's a very simple ride. Break well, send, take him gate to wire. Subrogate would be the other one, the 6 horse I would look at as well. But I think El Grande O gate to wire is what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting because if Subrogate can run back to that Aqueduct race at the optional 80K, it's going to be very tough in this spot. And that race launched this horse into the Grade 1 AG Vanderbilt Handicap, where the horse ran 6th, 12 lengths back to Nakatomi and Scully. And that was a pretty tough race at Saratoga there, especially first time taking graded stakes company on. Has not been able to get back to either that race at Belmont at the Big A or Saratoga the time prior, which kind of would put that the correct level here. I think that the number 5, St. Jude, a little interesting, shipping in here from Delaware and Laurel, taking kind of your new shooter inside of this group here. But I can't get around El Grande O either. I mean, this horse just seems really placed well in this spot, facing other horses that I think should be able to take care of business against. I agree with you, has the speed to go get the lead, but Prat doesn't need the lead, so you can kind of make this a jockey's race and decide where you want to go on El Grande O and if you want to go directly to the front. One other horse I think we should at least mention is Acoustic Ave, the 3 horse for Linda Rice. This is the other Linda Rice in here. Lascano going to be aboard. Also cross-entered the day before in Aqueduct's 4th race, so we'll have to keep an eye on whether or not this horse is going to run that day. But Acoustic Ave, I think, is at least a little bit interesting. Ran ahead behind El Grande 3 back.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I've used this horse in the past quite a bit. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what race the horse runs in. That'll be, that'll kind of maybe tell you if you keep in this race, maybe just use both Lindas and go on, right? Because we've seen that before, right? We've seen the other Linda win all the time. Lascano is usually her boy when it comes to riders too. So I was with you. I was between the 1 and the 3. I just think it's a short field and the trip works out better for the number 1 El Grande, but I wouldn't be shocked with Acoustic Ave. I think this horse, especially last year during Saratoga, seems like we talked about this one here or there, about a horse we kind of like. So, I wouldn't be shocked with you. I think that is one to look at. I thought the 2 Full Moon Madness was a horse that made a little bit of sense as well. Coming out of the grade 3 Bold Ruler, he ran okay. There was nothing wrong there either. It's just really a field kind of, all of them are like, yeah, I mean, they're okay. Yeah, like that's how you describe all of them, right? And so when you look at that, I try to look at, okay, now who's going to get the trip? And again, Full Moon Madness, I think will be a little bit further behind some of these other horses.
Yeah, it's a 6-horse field that I think all 6 could win. Yeah. So I have El Grande on top, and again, not going to use this horse in a tournament. Like they're just every other horse is a better option in my mind than El Grande, who looks like 9-5 on the morning line, just came out, and it's just too short of a price for me to want to use in tournaments. However, I do think this is your most likely winner in this spot. So the Elite Power Stakes race number 5 Saturday at Aqueduct, number 1 El Grande for both Aaron Halterman and I. And with that, Aaron, we move on to the best bets, where we will get to once again try and go head to head. We'll save that race for last, but I'll let you go first here and take the lead. Your first best bet going to come from Aqueduct race number 7 on Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm happy to say that the morning lines are out. I just see that on my screen here as well. Aqueduct race 7. I'm going to go with the number 6, Life and Times. This is a horse I'm very curious to see what happens. This is one you usually bet against, so I'm curious to get your thoughts on this one as well. And look, debut race, only raced one time, debuted for Todd Pletcher last time out at Belmont the Big A, which is Aqueduct, if you're not unaware, and won main special weight by 5 3/4 lengths, and just looked dominant doing it. I thought was so impressive in that first start. If you fast forward to this start, I think he's in a tougher race. Obviously, there are 12 horses in the field, but you just kind of look at this and go, I think he gets towards the front once again in this spot. And if he does, I think he can make it 2 out of 2. You look at speed figure wise, he's a little bit ahead of everybody else. So I like this horse quite a bit. So I'm going to go in Aqueduct race 7, number 6, Life and Times.
I am not going to tell you you're crazy here. I do like the number 6 in this spot. I do have another horse on the card that I'm going to be fading off of a big-time debut victory, but Life and Times, I think, is a very logical winner here. I had the number 8 in second, First Kind, who's a monster price, so that's not right. I don't want like that horse at 30-1. We'll have to figure this out. I'll check it out later. We're gonna do this for Magic Mike shows. So if you want to find out the picks in all 5 of these, you can go over check out that show as well over at racingdudes.com. Okay. I do like Life and Time, so I think this is a decent selection here, assuming that I have the right horse. So we'll figure that out later. All right, my first best bet here headed to Gulfstream Park, race number 4. I'm going to go with the number 4 here, Getting Serious. This is a horse that I just love the setup here, going $75,000 N1X claimers, a mile on the turf. And Getting Serious ran well last time at Belmont at the Big A after debuting at Kentucky Downs. This is a horse that has tactical speed, but is still able to close and make up ground. Gaffleone jumps aboard. You mentioned going to be a key horse here, or key jockey at the Gulfstream Park meet. I think Getting Serious just trips out. You've got some cheap speed in here that's going to take the lead, and it sets up very well for the number 4 is Getting Serious. So give me the number 4 Getting Serious, Gulfstream Park, race number 4.
Great pick. Believe it or not, I didn't look at your other pick. I just looked at your one where we're head-to-head. This was the one I almost wrote down last night when I was writing it down on the show document, and I went with the other race. So I think that's a great pick. I think I'm pretty excited about this horse, moving forward even.
Yeah, I'm hoping we just don't get killed on the toe board. I mean, that's my one main concern. However, my second pick is 20-1 on the morning line, so I'm not worried about that one. And we'll move over to that selection there, Gulfstream Park, race number 7, where Aaron Halterman and I are going head-to-head on Saturday. I will let you kick it off in your selection of the favorite.
Well, first of all, I can't believe your horse is that big of a price. That's wild. So I won't, but listen, I shouldn't talk about your horse because I'm going to Gulfstream Park, race 7. Number 8, Wally World on top for me in this one. Very consistent runner. Even when this horse doesn't win, is finishing second, finished in first or second, 8 out of 12 times, hit the board 9 out of 12. Good spot, I think, for this horse. Very good spot. Very consistent runner going 1 mile. Obviously, very good connections is here. We talked about it. Tyler Gaffleone, he's aboard this horse as well. Safi Joseph. That's, I don't need to tell anybody that as a trainer. You really got to watch for Gulfstream Park all year round. So coming out of a little bit of excuse me if I can speak, 3 races that I think are tougher than this one today. Was up at Saratoga in an allowance, got second, went to Kentucky Downs and got second in an allowance. Belmont, the Big A last time out, just didn't run very well. I think gets down here, going to run better. Give me the number 8, Wally World in the 7th at Gulfstream on Saturday.
First off, I am fading your 6 horse. That is like my stereotypical fade at Aqueduct. 9-5. One is a 4-year-old at 11-1 first time out, coming back at 8-5. Really short price. I will be fading that horse. Although I would not be shocked at all if that horse wins. It's just one that I generally do like to try and play against. And I don't mind Wally World here in this spot. But I am going to chase a horse that I have tagged as one that I wanted to bet back, and that's the number 4 horse, Ruse, who's 15-1 on the morning line. I think that is just wildly too big of a price on the number 4 here, going a mile. It's a distance that Ruse doesn't mind, and the trip last time out was so brutal. Was 3 to 4 wide the entire way around against State Bred's $45,000 N2X horses. This is a significantly easier level, coming down to Florida and running in this race against $25,000 Open N1X. The race prior to that, I thought was a very tough race. Ran a good 8th, which sounds crazy, but again, was 10 of 11, was never saving any ground, and ended up finishing 8th, but only 3 lengths back that day. You go back to the race prior to that, I thought ran huge and got placed first through DQ. This is a horse that's always had talent, but needs to get the right trip. The post today in 4 is, I think, very beneficial for Ruse, who's going to sit a much better trip than we have seen the last 3 races. And I think Ruse has the talent in the back class to be able to win, and I'm getting 15-1. Yeah, sign me up. Give me the number 4 Ruse, race number 7 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday.
Yeah, at the price, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all. I don't think the horse is winning. Obviously, I have the 8. And obviously, best bet, so strong opinion. I don't think the horse is winning, but I also, I don't think it's a horrible pick. Man, it seemed like this horse was better and it just fell off like lately, but yeah, we'll see what happens. If you win, the tip of the hat, 15-1 versus 3-1, not quite a fair fight going into this one.
No, you're significantly more likely. Yeah, look, this horse was running really well in like 2024 at Saratoga, and then ran well in early 25. It actually has a very good race at Gulfstream Park, running at the 75 Open level. And then I think got above the skis, ran in back-to-back stakes races, then went to 5.5 furlongs, which is just not the game. But since then, since going back to a mile, you've started to see that form be regained. And I'm willing, again, 15-1. I'm taking shots here with some of these best bets. I think this is a very logical horse to take a shot with at 15-1 that should be closer to like the 5-6-1 range. And yet I'm getting triple the price I think I should here on the number 4 Ruse. So head-to-head with the best bets here. Number 4 Ruse, race number 7, Gulfstream Park on Saturday for me. Number 8, Wally World, race number 7 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday for Aaron. We had a head-to-head last week. It rained off the turf, so I was not able to get the first head-to-head victory. We had to wait 1 week later for me to take over that domination and crown. We'll be keeping a close eye on that one, as well as all the week races over this weekend. Again, if you've not signed up, head over to first.com/VSiN. Sign up for the Beat Mike Somich contest. All you got to do is pick the 5 races that we highlighted this week, $2 mythical win place, and have an express bet account. If you beat me, you get to split $5,000. If I put up a number, there could just be 1 or 2 people that beat me. They could be taking down the entire $5,000. By the way, Aaron, I don't love this. If I win, I don't get the $5,000. I feel like if I beat everybody, I should just get the money.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out what happens if I win. Because maybe that means it's $10K next time we do this Beat Mike Somich thing.
I don't think you should play now.
No, see, that's the thing. I can't release my picks because then everyone could just pick the same thing as me.
Yeah.
And that would just create a headache for first bet as well. So you'll have to wait till Saturday. I'll post them up on Twitter at SamuelBaum18 if you want to see who the picks are once the first race is off.
If you can't win the pool, just create the headache for first bet in protest.
No, I'm not salty halty here.
Wait a
okay?
second.
You're just trying to come up with the most convoluted way to make everyone's life difficult.
Yes.
Well, it's okay. I don't know if you're allowed to wear black again on another one of these. This is the saltiest you've ever been on any show that we have done, and I think it correlates to the black shirt.
I think it's your fault.
Of course you do. I mean,
Because
that's perfectly in line with everything else.
You purposely tried to make me angry on your show last week, or yesterday. And you did it when there was no time. We were right up against a commercial, and I couldn't make your team sucks and they're terrible. Now give us your pick in 20 seconds, and you can't defend your team. See, and that has sparred something deep inside me right now, Mike. That's what I'm thinking.
If it was that easy to pick off the scab, maybe your team is terrible. Thanks for joining us here on VSiN At The Track. I'm Mike Somich.
I don't need to make an argument because our resume speaks for itself, so we don't have to make an argument.
For everyone out there, he's an Oklahoma fan. I'm a Miami fan. Oklahoma's in. They should be out. It should be Miami and Notre Dame both in. But hey, we won't go there. Okay. We'll see what happens here 1 week away in the college football playoff. Thank you very much for joining us here, VSiN At The Track. Make sure you head over to first.com/VSiN. Sign up for the Beat Mike Somich contest. Black Friday promo, VSiN.com/subscribe. He's Aaron Halterman. I am Mike Somich for super producer Matt Deutsch, who has to listen to this multiple times because he does all the edits. Good on you, Matt. Good luck this weekend at the track.